Not many people think of it this way, but bricks and mortar, it's nice, but it depreciates. Land, it appreciates. Let's talk about it right now.
Good morning, Mark.
Hey, Billy, how are you?
I'm good.
The old man in the young man's body, how are you?
Very good, thank you. But I do feel like I've been lied to in my younger years now that I've been told bricks and mortar actually make you no money. Because
can you believe it?
I was always told you've got to buy bricks and mortar. That's a safe investment. It always goes up. However, it's actually the land value.
If you buy that brand new house in like a little subdivision, be careful, because if there's a lot of land left over in that subdivision, that bricks and mortar is just going to get older and older and older. And the land there's a plethora around you. Be worried.
Yeah, that's right. And we just spoke about off air, sort of, it's interesting, different, I guess you could say, cultures or people think of it differently. You know, you're saying the Wogs just love the land. They've always bought the biggest piece of land with the smallest house.
Absolutely, and I guess if you really start to unpack it, which we're going to do today, it reminds me of up in Duffy's Forest. I was selling a massive house on a massive block of land, and I was selling it 21 years later, and I was looking at these prices and I'm going, hang on a sec, this is not right. I was selling this house for, at the time, I think it was circa 4.6 at the time. And what I also distinctly remember is 20 years ago when this house sold for approximately $1 million. And I'm thinking, you know, it's sort of, but it was a very aged home, this home. Then I looked at in that area at the same time, there were 5-acre blocks up in the Duffy's Forest, Ingleside, and the same thing, they were $1 million. And I was looking at thinking, you know what, this house was aged because it was 20 years old. To do a reno on it needed another $1 million. Like it was a big house in a spunky location, but it was old. Something, man, by the time these guys get this house looking back to its glory, it's going to cost them another $1 million. So they're at 5.5, whereas the land that was 5 acres is probably worth about 7 to 8.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
And so this sort of leads us into our next topic. We've got to talk about a few suburbs where land value is clearly far more than the worth of bricks and mortar. And they've done a comparison in units versus houses. And then also where 10 New South Wales suburbs where there's a very, very small difference between the cost of a unit and a house, which I thought never would be possible. But we've got 10 for you.
And then we'll try to understand why. And then it came full circle to this what we're talking about. So let's have a look.
I'm going to do a share screen.
Yep.
And we're going to bring in.
So when we first came across this article, we're trying to work out how the hell this actually happens. If you press Control Plus, Billy, that'll zoom it all up for you. But when we're looking at this, we're looking at it going, hang on a sec, how does this happen? How does it get to a point where units are more expensive than houses in these suburbs here? Can you do a Control Plus on that, buddy?
Yeah, I've hit a Control Plus. I don't know if that's working.
No, it's not. So if you have a look at these suburbs here, all of them, they all have something in common, and I want you guys to have a look at them. So what have we got on there, Billy? Oi, hey, oi.
I'm just playing around with the layout, see if I can find a better one. That's probably our best one, Mark.
Yeah, so if you go back onto that screen there where the what's hosting that tile, click on it,
Yep.
and then press with your mouse, and then press Control Plus after that.
Better?
Nah. Okay.
It's not liking it. Do you want me to read them to you, though? I can see that pretty good.
Yeah, please. Yep.
So top 10 New South Wales locations with smallest price difference between unit and houses. Can I just firstly mention, Mark, I have actually never heard of most of these places.
Yeah.
So at number 1, we've got Yamba, Toronto, Casino, Armidale, Glenfield Park, Wagga Wagga, Grafton, Cessnock,
Well,
Young, and Taree.
Taree there. Yeah. So look, so these are the suburbs where the apartment is the gaps is. Can you read that out? Sorry.
Yeah.
The smallest price difference between units and houses. So it's a really small gap. Why?
Why? That's a good question. I mean, who actually thought that would be possible in the first place? Everyone sort of wants to live in a house. That's the dream, right?
Yep.
I think, like I say, it does sort of come down to land value. It's clear there compared to the second part of that table, these 10 locations are not quite as sought after in terms of people living in the same space.
Yep.
But I can't actually imagine why there would be a house cheaper than an apartment. I mean, maybe the houses are significantly outdated compared to some of the newer builds, but what are your thoughts?
So just to take it from the top, Daniel's just said he doesn't have a magnifying glass, nor do I. Can we just read exactly what's in front of us here? Can you read? So the suburbs here, guys, that we're showing you, may as well get rid of it. The suburbs that we're showing you here, guys, are the suburbs that have the closest gap between house prices and unit prices, the closest. And the suburbs are what suburbs are they, Billy, again?
We've got Yamba, Toronto, Casino, Armidale, Glenfield Park, Wagga Wagga, Grafton,
Wagga Wagga,
Cessnock, Young, and
Taree. All right, legend. And then the suburbs that have the house price with the biggest biggest distance to the unit prices are
Vaucluse, Bellevue Hill, Bronte, Clovelly, Mossman, Rose Bay, Toorak, Hunters Hill, Linfield, and Killara.
Okay. So, guys and girls, in summary, if we get rid of that tile, Billy, in summary, when you are looking at house prices and unit prices, the one thing that you can identify here is that the actual house prices, the land prices in these regional suburbs is so friggin' cheap, and the bricks and mortar is so expensive that it's actually driven that gap to be closer. So it's closed that gap. But then when you're looking at places where land prices are exorbitant, then that's put a downward pressure on the gap with units that are being built as well. So all in all, when you're making an investment in real estate, have a good close look at land value, and make sure you're not buying brand new and then there's lots of competition in the area and then it becomes old because your only asset is actually the bricks and mortar. That's scary. So buying in those areas that we're talking about where your only asset is the bricks and mortar, and the bricks and mortar is deteriorating in price and age, that's where your price is going to deteriorate. But when you're buying land in a good area where the land's sought after, you're not getting bricks and mortar depreciating on that land.
Yeah. Would you ever Have you ever bought land as an investment, Mark, or would you advise that if it's out of Sydney? So we've got city versus regional here.
I've bought land out of Sydney once, and the reason I bought land out of Sydney was it was a rental play. So I wasn't buying it for capital growth. I was buying it purely because of the ability to generate lots and lots of rental income because of multiple incomes that it has. So it was a different type of purchase. But most people's motivation for a purchase, most of the times, 2/3 of the income that's coming in is going to be capital growth, and 1/3 is going to be rental growth. So most people are making a play for capital growth. So I'd be worried about buying regional land.
And we've spoken about it before, but the risk of buying land, isn't it right? Your mortgage is almost starting instantly, as in you've got no real income.
Which is scary because you're not going to have, it's absolutely true. When you're buying land, you've got to remember you've got no one paying them, helping you pay the mortgage off. When you're buying land with a house on it, you've got someone helping you pay your mortgage off. When you're buying a unit, you've got someone helping pay your mortgage off, generally from day one. Good point.
Yeah. But there you go. There's 10 suburbs with the biggest difference and 10 suburbs without. I think we've just broken it down. And to anyone that hasn't heard of it phrased up in that way before, mortar and, buying your mortar and your bricks, unfortunately, that's not what's going to make you the money.
Yeah, you got to unpack it a little bit more. It's not as simple as it looks.
That's a wrap.
That's right. Have a great day. Have a great week, everyone.
Cheers.
Thanks, Billy. Cheers, mate.